safe, and we like our money to be safe too. But when it comes to shopping online, sometimes we don't know who to trust. With PayPal, your financial information is protected and never shared with stores. Like it's sealed in a vault with titanium locks guarded by ninjas. And at sites all over the world, PayPal's buyer protection looks out for you. So spend less time worrying and more time enjoying.
Na 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 na.
People rule.
Ever I saw your face, I thought the sun rose.
Care for your eye health, and vision can last a lifetime. Vision Express. Vision taken seriously.
You're watching Sky News. Let's take you straight across to the sports studios and an update from Olivia.
Sky News Sports Bulletins, brought to you by Pru Health with Vitality.
Liverpool face Crystal Palace tonight as they aim to return to the top of the Premier League and keep the pressure on Manchester City in the title race. It's live on the Monday Night Football, and Sky's Jeff Shreves is there. Jeff.
It's quite straightforward. Can Liverpool push Manchester City all the way to the last day? Alongside me is Alan Smith. Alan, your answer to that question?
Well, they've had a bit of time to think about that Chelsea defeat, haven't they? Liverpool had a few days off as well, so much depends on how they can react. Can they bounce back? Can they go again, in the words of Steven Gerrard? If they can reach the levels that they have more often than not this season, it's going to be tough for Crystal Palace. But we were here for the Manchester City game. When City got the early goal, made life easy for themselves. If Liverpool can do that, it could be a similar story.
The fact that Crystal Palace are now safe from relegation, is that a plus or a minus for Liverpool?
I think it's got to be a plus. But on the other side of the coin, this is the last game of the season here in front of some of the best fans in the Premier League, certainly the noisiest. They've been absolutely sensational this season. So Tony Pulis and the players will want to go out with a bang and to say thank you to these fans and looking forward to next season. And we all know what Tony Pulis has done, his motivational powers. More often than not, his players are pumped up for these occasions.
In fact, we have on display the two strongest candidates for Manager of the Year in Tony Pulis and Brendan Rodgers. Who do you think should get it?
I think much depends on who wins the league, Jeff. I mean, if Liverpool were to lift the trophy, Brendan Rodgers, I think, would definitely get it. If Manchester City win it, Pellegrini might. It's just the way things work. But Tony Pulis, I cannot remember a situation where a team has looked so down and out and a manager almost single-handedly has had such an effect on a football club. It's been quite amazing. I think Tony says himself it's his biggest achievement.
Indeed, a fantastic story for both managers, whatever happens. But don't forget, still a long way to go.
Luis Suarez has been named the Football Writers Association Footballer of the Year. He picked up the Players' Award last weekend. He's the first Liverpool striker to score 30 league goals in a season since 1987. Suarez beat teammate Steven Gerrard to the award. Leicester have been celebrating their Premier League return. The players and staff joined the club's tie owners for a bus parade and reception at the Town Hall. Thousands of Leicester fans turned out to enjoy the party. The owners are treating the entire squad to a holiday in Thailand next week. The final of the World Snooker Championship at the Crucible is heading for a tight finish. Ronnie O'Sullivan led 10 frames to 7 overnight, but Mark Selby has fought back in the afternoon session. He now leads 12-11 going into tonight's final session, where the first to 18 frames will win the title.
Organisation Chatham House, very good evening to you. Are you surprised that it's taken 3 weeks for Boko Haram to hold their hand up to this one?
Well, it's very interesting timing in terms of them having claimed responsibility today, given that it has been such a long time. I think that part of this might be related to Boko Haram having observed the outcry over the abductions. There were protests over the weekend in the UK, in the United States, and most prominently in Nigeria itself. And I think what may have been actually a perhaps practical or pragmatic step by Boko Haram, they see it now in more political terms. They see how weakened the federal government in Abuja is by this.
Generally, though, these sort of Islamist extremist groups don't seem to be that bothered about international opinion, do they? They tend to go their own way.
No, that is true, but it matters here because, Boko Haram is an anti-state movement, it may have observed actually the international reaction and calls to the Nigerian government to do more about the abductions, to do more on the crisis. And so it would seem to Boko Haram that actually this works in their favor if it makes the Nigerian government look weaker.
What about this idea or this claim coming from their leader that they're going to sell these girls into slavery? They certainly, the name of the group suggests that they abhor the idea of Western-style education, but I mean, surely this is several steps beyond that, isn't it?
Yes, it's true. It is several steps beyond that. What is interesting about this is that it's another stage in Boko Haram's evolution. It may be that they are going to sell some of the girls, all of the girls. It may be that they never even planned to do that, that this is a change for them. It's not clear exactly why they took the girls at the outset. We can only speculate. But what is clear is that yes, Boko Haram is against Western education, but more than that, it's against secularism, it's opposed to democracy, and it seems that this is the next stage in its development in its current form.
Are you getting a clear impression of how big a foothold they've got in the north of the country and how well the government is handling it? It suggests that 3 weeks have gone by and the central government does not appear to have been able to do much to retrieve these girls.
That's true. Part of this relates to the terrain. This is a vast area. There are 3 states in northern Nigeria that are under emergency rule because of this Boko Haram crisis. Those together amount to about 2/3 of the size of the UK. There are porous borders across to Cameroon, Chad, and Niger. And it's certainly true that the government forces have been struggling with this, but the government forces have been struggling with this insurgency since it started. Boko Haram re-emerged after a 2009 uprising. It re-emerged in 2010 as a truly violent, really vicious organization. There's been a state of emergency for almost a year now in these 3 northeastern states. Boko Haram continues its rampage.
Elizabeth Donnelly, thank you very much for joining us. Chatham House expert Elizabeth Donnelly there. You're watching Sky News. Coming up.
He stuck a gun to my head, grabbed me towards the counter and started screaming at the cashiers to give him money.
Victim of an armed robber who escaped from an open prison tells Sky News of her ordeal.
Boom, boom, boom.
Families have loved our secret recipe for over 70 years. And now it's even on the fries.